How's it going, guys? Jimothy Snicket here. Just going to do a quick little tutorial here on what I believe is the simplest way to do a 4-panel comic for the web. A lot of these things could be applied to a print comic. I am personally going to put it at a high enough DPI or pixel per square inch that you could print this. It's always easier to go a little bit bigger or a lot bigger, doesn't really matter, because you can always make it smaller later on. So the sizes that we're going to be looking at a taller format and a square format for Instagram or wherever you want to post it, but Instagram's pretty picky about the sizes that it will allow you to post. A lot of other places not so much, so that's the one that I have found easiest to work around. So first of all, we're gonna go, I've got a couple of different canvases here set up for different things. We will start with the square canvas. So we'll go here, swipe left, go and just have a little look at it. So what we've got here is a DPI of 300 and it's 1080 by 1080. That is absolutely fine. Instagram's fine with posting and not cropping the image down from a square image of 1080 by 1080. The highest you can go is 1350. So if you want to actually make one in the scale that it will accept, you can go and make one of this size, DPI 300. Again, not necessary for web, but it will help you out if you do ever want to print it anywhere. So this is 1080 by 1350. These are the recommended sizes that Instagram actually tell you. However, I usually use either a 4000 by 4000 like this, and that's a completely unnecessarily high DPI there. But 4000 by 4000 square canvas gives you as much room as you really want to do fine detail work when you go in. And obviously, if you scale this down to 25%, it is 1000 by 1000, which is just under the 1080. So that's absolutely fine. So you've got the high res version of it if you ever want to use it for something, or you scale it down and then use that for Instagram, or the tall format. The ideal canvas to work on, and what I'm going to use in this, is 4000 by 533. What this will actually do is, if you scale this to 25%, this will take you to 1000 by just over 1300. So it's just under the 1350 that they will let you have. You can't, or I have not found a way to scale down while exporting, so you would need to do it in another program. But in any case, every other step here will be the same. So we're going to use, in fact, no, we will use actually just the correct size. So we'll use the 1080 by 1350. Make sure we've got black color, layer 1. And for all of the steps in this tutorial, I'm going to use the calligraphy brush, the monoline, because it's just a very stable line for the panels. So, you know, like this. We don't want to probably just quite that big. A little bit bigger than that. There we go, that'll do. Right, so first step, we're going to go to our canvas. We're going to turn on the drawing guide, and we are going to edit the drawing guide. Now, this bit doesn't need to be super accurate. All I want is a good center line and some good lines around the edge that I can use for reference. So right about there will do. Actually, maybe just watch the top border a little bit there. That's fine, because I can work off the center line and just outside the side lines there. If for any reason you are messing with this and you can't see your lines, up at the top here, you can change the color of this line from black all the way to white. It is quite easy to accidentally touch that up there when you're clicking done or cancel, and you're saying, why can't I see my grid? So Make sure it's black or any other colour that you want, to be honest. We'll switch on assisted drawing as well, but it's easier to do it in here. Drawing assist. So what the drawing assist is going to do is mean I can only now draw horizontal or vertical lines. Very simple, and we're going to use that to do our 4 panels. So we're going to go just outside. I'm going to draw all the way down. I'm going to go across from the top. I'm going to go just outside. I'm going to go across again. Now we know that this is the centre, so we're going to go just inside of these ones, straight across. The top panel, just inside of these ones. We're going to do the same, just inside of the centre line. Just inside of the centre line. Now you could leave a gap at the bottom here if you want to do the name of the comic down there, leave your signature, whatever. But put the drawing guide on, put drawing assist on in your layer menu here, and remember to turn it off after you've done this section. In fact, I'll turn it off now. And then we'll go back in. If you have used another brush, especially a brush with texture, remember for this next step, if you just press and hold on the eraser, you will be erasing with the same brush that you were drawing with, so that you will not have any funkiness with the textures. So now I'm just going to erase those bits. Up to you how clean you want to be. Just going to do this kind of fast. There we go. The reason I wanted to do this tutorial is because I couldn't find something very simple that told me how to do this. And I'm relatively new to art. Being a 40-year-old starting art is interesting. If you want me to do a video about that at some point, well, I was using Clip Studio Paint, and although there are so many tools there for you to be able to use to make comic books in Clip Studio, it is overwhelming. In fact, the whole program is overwhelming to get used to and how to actually do something like this. Procreate is super simple, and these tools make it very easy to do what I'm about to show you. Right, so what I'm going to do is go to layer 1 here. I'm going to set that as a reference layer. I'm going to put another layer just below it. I'm going to pick a colour, any colour. It's a nice orange. And we're going to drag that in. And we are, I did see that. I thought maybe it would be okay, but it's not. Just fill that in. Back to our orange. So the reason for the reference layer is for outlines. The outlines, the fill that I'm about to put in will now work off of the reference layer above it. So I'm going to fill that in. Now we're going to focus on what's underneath. So this is going to sit at the top of your layer tree. I'm going to switch off drawing guide. So yeah, the panels are going to sit at the top. So you don't need to worry about drawing over them. Everything that we do inside these 4 panels is going to be completely contained within them. So the next step is going to be to create some new layers. I'm going to create 4 layers here. It is worth making sure our threshold is set relatively high, and I'll show you why. So if you go to 26, that was still okay. But if you go down a bit, especially if you're using a pen with texture, there's a good chance that you will end up along these edges. Oh, see here, you can just see a slight little bit of white poking through there. But just to make sure that your actual outer frame is solid, it is a good idea when you're doing this to make sure that your threshold is set really quite high. So that when you turn that off, you can see that the colour is going a decent bit under the edge of the lines. So now that you've got all your frames done, what we're going to just quickly do is pick another colour just so that we can definitely see it. We'll just pick a nice pink colour there. Oh. So frame 1, so this is going to the top left frame. Frame 2 is going to the top right, and then so on. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill this in. That's good, 98%, so that's nice and whole. Then we're going to go to frame 2. I'm going to do frame 3. Nope, didn't change layer. Now, there's a reason we're doing this, and I'll explain it in a second. Sweet. So, now what we're going to do is switch all of these onto alpha lock. This way, that when I turn off these top 2 layers, you'll see basically what we have now are 4 panels. Now I'm on frame 4, which is the bottom right frame. Now I can draw in here, and I cannot draw outside it. If I were to switch to frame 1, I can't draw outside frame 1. So this keeps all your layers nice and separate. And when we're doing what we're about to do, well, when you're drawing your comic, this will help you massively, because at this point we could just go back and fill these in now, because we know for a fact that we can't actually fill outside these borders. So what I would normally do is I will take this and I will drag it over that. Now we have a new group, which is frame 1. Now obviously the process is going to be the same for the rest of them, but I would typically go in here, I would grab a pencil, we've got this, we've got our sketch layer, go in here. Actually, if you set this to a clipping mask, now this will never go outside the confines of the frame below it. So we just draw our sketch, big smiley face. Yay, we're happy with our sketch. Are we happy with our sketch? Probably. Yeah, we're happy with our sketch. Then I would no doubt end up with another layer, switch that to a clipping mask as well. All of these layers that you set to clipping mask will follow the confines of the lowest layer. So all of these will adhere to the alpha mask, which we've got on frame 1. Now, I would typically go for, it depends what style I'm going for. I've got this variable inker from Retro Supply Company that I'm quite liking. So I would probably use that at the minute. I'd maybe turn down the opacity on my sketch layer. Yep. Some nice symmetrical eyes, press and hold down. Now remember, I don't need to really care about where I'm ending my lines now, because we can't go over into any other frame. Probably start another layer. It automatically switches that to clipping mask as well. This is a little bit overkill, but when you are making a more complicated image, it means that everything is super separated, and the clipping masks come in handy. So I'm going to rename this colour. It has a U because I'm from the UK. Remember to release your clipping, your reference layer from up there, and you'll want to switch it to here. Yeah, now we've got our line work. You could put all of your line work on the same layer and then set that as your reference for colouring later on. However, unless all your panels are in a very similar situation, you're probably going to want to light them a slightly different way. It's just easier to deal with everything individually. However, you don't need to go this far if you don't want to. So we'll go to our color. Now that we have our line work frame 1 set as a reference, that'll be happy filling that in. Who knows? There we go. That's great. Now the good thing about doing it this way is that when we start another layer, which will automatically clip to all these other layers, you can go in, you can grab a multiply, we can grab a color. I have a palette set up, I have a palette set up almost all times with a couple of different shades of grey for the express purposes of using them on a multiply layer, because reselecting a color on a multiply layer can be very difficult. It tries to select the color as displayed, not the color that you used on the multiply layer, and then if you want to make changes to it, it's very difficult. So I do recommend setting a couple of hues, keeping them in a palette or on the canvas somewhere that you can grab them, so that if you want to go back onto a multiply layer and not have overlapping different values of shadow, unless that's what you want, you can keep everything uniform. So I'm going to use this top grey here, and we'll say that the shadows are going to be on the bottom left of this. I'll go and grab this ink marker. How big is that? That'll do. Just put some simple shade on the wee fella. And we'll keep the same hue. Not hue. We'll keep the same grey, basically, because when we switch this layer to, I'll use screen, it will now be a highlight. There we go. Oh, a bit too much there. Simple as. We now have a simple drawing in panel 1, or frame 1. And then likewise for frame 2, 3, and 4. This keeps everything nice and organized. You can switch things off if you want to. For instance, you say that, you know, maybe your highlights are a little bit too much on frame 1. You can go to your screen, you can turn down the opacity a little bit on that. You can control each panel individually. This keeps you super organized. And then that's about it. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments and I'll try to respond. This might be a bit rough as it's my first video, well, my first attempt at a tutorial, but this is the quickest way that I have found to do this. So I hope it's helpful, and I'll see you next time. Bye.